let's get started then. So last week we looked over these. Do you remember some of these? Which ones were most interesting for you? I want you to have a look and maybe take notes. Which one was really impressive or new or interesting for you or useful? Let's remember last week. If you want to revisit some of these, you can. And these were some of the takeaways from last week. I want you to choose one from each slide. Choose one thing that you can take forward in your life. You can apply. Which one is your favorite? These are from last week. Let's spend about 30 seconds about each slide. And which one is your favorite here? These are all from last week. Okay. And these are also from previous weeks. I came across this top 21 YouTube channels of all time. I'll share the slides. Please check it out. They are really, really good YouTube channels. Very educational, and I love this list, so check it out. I want to share with you another interesting story. This is an experiment. Significant Objects Project. They did an experiment. Writers Rob Walker and Joshua Glenn. What they did were, they went to these second-hand markets. They bought simple second-hand used items for 50p, 25p, etc. And then they invented stories and resold them on eBay. So, here's the experiment. They bought this for $2. They sold it for $62. You see each item, it's a book. They bought this for 33 cents, sold it for $71. Bought it for $1, sold it for 57. So for each of these items, what was special was that they invented a story around it. For each item, they wrote up stories. These are made-up stories. And humans bought it. Humans didn't actually buy the items themselves, but humans bought the stories of these items. So this tells such an important story. Life is all about storytelling. Your career is all about storytelling. Your success, what will make you or break you, is your ability to tell good stories. If you can tell good stories, then you can be very successful in your life. You can also be a great salesperson. Sales is the heart of business. If you want to become successful in business, you have to learn how to sell stuff. Unfortunately, none of your modules teach you how to sell. None of your modules. It's a big mistake, in my view, that you don't actually have sales skills. Because the one skill that is indispensable for business is sales. If you cannot sell, you don't have any business. And sales is the toughest part of business. Unfortunately, you can't teach it easily. Yeah, you have to practice it. You have to really learn it through practice. So I think this is a great example of how to learn about sales. If you have good storytelling, then you have good sales skills. So stories are such powerful driver of emotional value that their effect on any object's subjective value can actually be measured objectively, and they measured this. So this is a collection, this is also a book, 100 items, and they made thousands of dollars from these items. They bought all of them in around, they paid I think about $100, but they made thousands of dollars. And this is due to the power of storytelling. Okay. Another form of storytelling is mental models. If you master mental models in your life, in your business, then you will be at a much more advantageous position. Mental models are multidisciplinary ways of understanding what happens around you. So you need to master these mental models so that you can think better. You don't have to buy this, by the way, but you can find these online. Many of these are already online, free. Just Google them and learn about them. Unfortunately, again, these are not in your curriculum. I think there must be, in some of the modules, you need to be learning about these mental models because they are the future. But unfortunately, they are not in your curriculum. So you need to master them, learn them yourself. Okay, I wanted to share this article with you as well. You can read it. So let's start today's topics then. It's about storytelling and imagination. So it is designed as a collective performance art. We review some of the names in entertainment, creativity, and business, a multidisciplinary tour of storytelling, and some puzzles. And you'll also practice screenwriting, storytelling. But the connecting item is the squash. Okay. So, this is the squash. I brought it to the class. Okay. What do we do with this? And why did I bring it? So, have a look. You can circulate this. Analyze it. Why did I bring it? What do we do with it? What do you think? Do you have any guesses, theories?
We could develop some interesting story behind it.
Exactly. We could develop some storytelling around the squash, right? And maybe we will practice some skills related to that. Okay, cool. Let's continue. I have a workshop on storytelling. Here's our next puzzle. UEA, Sainsbury Center. It was the headquarters. Which movie was this?
Avengers.
Who said it first? Yes. So, thank you. This is yours, but it's like very tough. I'll leave it here. Avengers Endgame, yes. It's a Marvel movie, yeah. Which company is the Netflix of e-learning? Any guess? They have celebrities, athletes, all these amazing teachers. Masterclass. If you go to Masterclass, you will find lots of great teachers. Who is the film's composer, producer for these films?
Hans Zimmer.
Exactly. Well done. Hans Zimmer. Yes. I can't get yours, I think. Yeah, cool. Hans Zimmer. He makes perfect film scoring. Let's look at his career a little bit.
Bit of a dodgy question here. I am convinced that it's a question, it's an answer. Ooh, it's a bit of a dodgy question here. I am convinced that I have no idea how to do your movie. It's always a blank piece of paper. I can tell you everything you need to know in one word. Story. All we're doing, set designer, actor, writer, composer, we try to create worlds. Sherlock, it's a score anybody could do. One microphone on a laptop. Ideas are not limited by budget. The creative process takes place in your head. The interesting ideas come from some kid in a garage in the Bronx. You just need to break through the myth that you can't create a great Hollywood blockbuster on an iPad. Because if you're a story, you can do whatever you want to do. I like writing in D, and it's nice that if you go from it's satisfying. For Batman, 4 French horns on the right, 4 French horns on the left, and they're up in a gallery, up way above the orchestra. 2 notes, but the amount of expressiveness you can put into them. This is a musician's life. Everybody tells you not to do it and get a real job. When all is said and done, and we've built the highest high-rises and we built the fastest machines, there's still going to be room for somebody to tell you a story or somebody to write you a piece of music. The seconds of your life are ticking away. If somebody tells you that there's a rule, break it. That's the only thing that moves things forward. I'm Hans Zimmer, and this is my masterclass.
Okay. Who is this celebrity astronaut? You know. Chris Hadfield. Let's look at his career.
The rocket equation, it's a beautiful thing. No astronaut launches for space with their fingers crossed. That's not how we deal with risk. What I learned from 21 years as an astronaut is that the more you know, the less you fear. The reason I wanted to do this masterclass is to share the hidden depths of purpose that are behind space exploration. When the clock hits 0, start focusing in, thinking of nothing else but the moment that you're in. Study every system on a spaceship, and then boil it down to what I call a one-pager. You've got to be able to solve your problems in one breath. You have to push your lungs forward through the drag of the atmosphere. Crushed into your chair, you're like a leaf in a hurricane. The reason is 1/2 rho v squared s. 16 times the speed of sound. As you accelerate harder and harder, that light blue Florida sky starts to get darker and darker, and then suddenly black. And the engines shut off, and you're weightless. Turn the handle and open the hatch. You pull yourself out into the universe, and now suddenly, when you move your knees, you can feel the searing heat of the sun on one side and the incredibly cold emptiness of space on the other. When you're no longer Earthlings, how do you navigate? You can use the stars. You can actually see how that place where you were raised fits into the overall complexity and reality of the solar system. You start to unavoidably wonder, are we alone in the universe or not? Our technology is just good enough now that some of you taking this masterclass are going to fly in space. Reusable rocket ships give us access to explore like we've never had before. It will be a great moment of introspection for humanity if you're the person who finds that one little fossilized flower on Mars.
Okay. Here's the next learning adventure. I want you to design 6 adventures for yourself for the next 6 weeks ahead of you. What could you do to spice up your life? One of them could be your asset creation project, right? Maybe you will be writing on Medium or create your YouTube channel or Instagram brand or online marketplace. What would you like to do? Some of them could be your business, online business related. Some of them could be creativity related. What other adventures will you be designing for yourself? Will you go on a holiday during the Christmas season? Or get involved in some hobbies. Like, try to think of stuff, activities that will excite you, that you will be looking forward to. Let's wrap this up in 30 seconds. The next one, I want you to design your stuff for 6 challenges for the next 3 months. You can increase this duration if you want. 3 months, 6 months, as you wish. But you need to think of some bigger challenges now. If you want, you can design them as monthly challenges. Design 1 month, 1 challenge for each month, maybe, if you want. Would you like to create new articles or blogs, or would you like to create some videos? Learn a new language, play an instrument. What else would you like to do? Apply for some internship or part-time job. Make your first online sales. Okay, let's wrap it up. Okay, let's go on with the puzzle. Who is the designer, game designer of SimCity, The Sims? You know this game designer? The world of games? Will Wright. Will Wright. Let's look at his masterclass.
Hi. Hi. When you play something like The Sims, the player is actually the one building the rule set. I'm giving the player a toy, and the player is turning it into a game. It's almost magical. As a designer, you're actually dealing with 2 computers. First, the electronic one sitting on the table in front of you, but more importantly, the player's imagination, the player's brain. Being a game designer turned into a lifelong learning process where I can go off in any subject I want to, and it's tax deductible. I'm going to expose you to a number of fundamental concepts about game design. I want to dive deep into the psychology of the player, the mental modeling that goes on, how to build emergence, surprise, and to try to predict what's going to motivate players and pull them in. You can take almost anything and make it a fascinating interactive experience. You watch somebody play a game, most of what they're doing is failing. You need to design the game such that failure is interesting and understandable so that you go back and say, aha!
Oh, jeez.
This is actually kind of fun.
Good.
Games and film have a very different emotional palette. Film is totally based upon empathy. You can look at characters, when they're happy, we feel happy. The kind of emotions that we can actually get out of games are very different. Things like guilt or pride, teamwork. A lot of that is based upon agency. As soon as you take that away from the players, it's kind of like being in a movie theater where all of a sudden the screen goes black. That's what it's like when you take the control away from the player. The generation that's creating games now has so many opportunities. You're having a vision for something that's going to go out and change people. So find something you're passionate about and start exploring. I'm Will Wright, and this is a simulation. It's a simulation of my master class.
Okay. Which computer game hosted a live concert? And they had a black hole at the end.
Fortnite.
Exactly. Thank you. Oh, sorry. Terrible at this. Fortnite. Okay, let's come back to the squash. Where is that squash? Who has? There? Okay. So imagine that I have a dark secret involving that squash. Okay. I want you to imagine that as a story and write down a story. I have a dark secret. You can imagine me as an evil person, no worries. Please write a dark fiction, dark story. What is my dark secret? Let's try to wrap it up. Does anyone want to share their story or concept? Any examples?
Serial killer's weapon.
Okay, it's like a serial killer weapon. Cool. You can even create like a Black Mirror episode around this, if you want. Maybe I'm spreading like a virus or something. Okay. Who is the little guy of basketball? You can finish your story, of course, but here's the next puzzle. He rose to the top of NBA. Not through his power and strength, but through his crazy ball handling skills. Who is he? Stephen Curry. Let's look at his masterclass. Sorry. Let's look at the next one. Living exponentially. This is a poster. Okay? And the philosophy here, living exponentially, is about mastering exponential things in life. So I want you to look at this poster. And how can you make the most use of anything exponential in your life? I want you to create some ideas, action points. For example, compounding. Compounding is about exponential things for the long term. Because if you start saving, investing, for the long term, you become really rich. Because your interest provides you more interest. You grow your pie more than ever. This also applies to your skills. You can compound your skills. You can compound your knowledge. You can compound your networks. And most importantly, maybe you can compound your assets in your life. If you compound your assets for the long term, you can become rich and powerful and successful. Okay? So how do you do that? If you can come up with some ideas on how to achieve this, please write them down. Of course, you need to think in terms of 10 years or more. Okay? Because you can utilize these benefits for the long term. You really need to think and act long term. Invest in yourself. You can also steal ideas from this poster. So how can you live exponentially? For example, if you improve yourself 1% every day, 1%, at the end of 1 year, you will improve yourself more than 37 times. This is due to the power of mathematics. You are growing the pie every day. Because you are growing it 365 times, the pie gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, 37 times bigger. Okay? So this is due to mathematics. So imagine that you are applying it to all your assets, investments, skills. How can you do that? How can you focus on the long term? Let's wrap it up. The next one is how you can avoid mediocrity. So how can you escape from mediocrity in your life? Think about that. Like you need to go to blue oceans, navigate blue oceans in your life. There are two kinds of oceans, red oceans and blue oceans. Yeah? Red oceans are red because of blood. There is too much competition. there is too much competition and there are crowds. That's why they are red. There is too much blood. You need to avoid red oceans in your career. You need to find blue oceans, which are uncharted territories. Uncharted new territories, new fields. These are important because you can explore these, you can become an explorer, you can be at the frontier of this field, these blue oceans, and you can invent new stuff. You can invent your own categories. You own your own category. So you invent and own your own categories if you go to blue oceans. What else could you do in order to avoid mediocrity? You can steal ideas from this poster as well. Please come up with 5 actions. You need to escape from crowds and do remarkable, different things. How will you do that? Are there things that only you can do? What are they? You need to tap into your unique strengths, but also what makes you unique, unusual. What makes you really unusual or unique? What are they? Maybe you need to focus more on these qualities, or skills, or passions, or curiosities. So how can you do that? Please write some actions. But please implement them. Don't just write them, please implement them. Let's wrap this up. Who is the inventor of Spanx? She used $5,000 of her savings to establish this company, and she became youngest self-made female billionaire. Who is she? You should know these people. Sarah Blakely, yeah? Let's look at her masterclass.
I'm gonna tell you something. Every person in their life has had $1 million idea. No doubt. No doubt. It's just, you're gonna take action. You definitely do not need to go to business school to become an entrepreneur. I started Spanx as a frustrated consumer. I had $5,000 set aside in savings. I simply wanted to be able to wear white pants to a party and have nothing show underneath it. The entire time, everyone told me no and said, this is not a great idea. But let me tell you one thing. That means you've come up with something brand new. Take it as a compliment. This masterclass is for anyone out there who's in search of an idea, has an idea and doesn't know what to do next, is wanting to start a business, or has already started a business. I guess in some way I'm saying, I think this class is for everybody. Before I started Spanx, I actually was selling fax machines door to door. I got kicked out of building after building, and one day I thought, I'm in the wrong movie. I called the producer, called the director, this is not my life, what happened? I can tell you the things that I focused on very early on. 3 things: make it, sell it, build awareness. People are looking for that. I want to be a $100 million company in the first year, and I'm going to raise as much money as I possibly can, and just check in with yourself on that and be willing to start small. Why are you doing this? What's the why? And who are you in the world? Share that part of the story. I mean, the more vulnerable you're willing to be, the deeper the connection will be with your consumers. I hope that you're tuning in and you're seeing me, and I become the example that you needed to say, check, yes you can. I'm Sarah Blakely, and this is my masterclass.
Okay. So most successful people don't care about making money. They just want to work on interesting projects. And the secret is to stay persistent, even during inevitable moments of self-doubt. And these are common excuses for not being an entrepreneur. I don't have any skills, money, connections, I don't know where to start. But welcome to the world of entrepreneurship. No one will hold your hand, you just start. You figure things out as you go. So to become an entrepreneur, you need that courage, initial courage, and the willingness to try out new things, experiment, and see what happens. You learn as you go. So super successful people, they are constantly trying to learn new things, exciting things, experiment, and try out new things. It's all about growing yourself, filling every spare moment with self-education. They don't do this because it's the right thing to do. They do this because they are curious, they are passionate. So you need to challenge yourself, really maximize your potential, make lots of mistakes, lots of experiments. Don't be afraid, have courage, make a lot of mistakes, and work hard. And in today's world, entrepreneurial spirit is on the rise. Many of the graduates are becoming entrepreneurs nowadays. At Harvard Business School, more than half of graduates are establishing their own businesses instead of going for companies. They are establishing their own careers afterwards. So everybody is trying to become an entrepreneur, especially in the post-pandemic times. Generations that is establishing, hustling, establishing their side hustles, freelance projects. And this is the best time in history to become a solopreneur. For the first time in history, solopreneurs can make $1 million by themselves using their computers. And you can also do that. Like, if not $1 million, you can start with thousands of dollars. I have made thousands of dollars using just my computer and my imagination. That's it. So you can also do that alongside your full-time career. Okay? So alongside my academic life, I have started to work as an entrepreneur, and I have made more than $10,000 during this time, just through my entrepreneurial ventures. And I will grow this much more. Okay? I'm just starting this. So you should also start your own journeys. Start your own startups. As you can see, United States is very active on this. Some of the world's best startups are there. But China is also very hot in terms of the startup ecosystem. Y Combinator is one of the greatest models. They have established all these companies under Y Combinator. You see Stripe, Airbnb, Reddit, all these amazing companies, they started at Y Combinator. And we call this YOLO economy, you live only once. The next one, who is the producer, showrunner of Grey's Anatomy and Scandal? She is one of the biggest in the world of TV and Netflix. She has a $100 million contract with Netflix. Who is she? Shonda Rhimes. She's one of the biggest names on television. Let's look at her career.
I think this might be one of my most important points, so I'm going to sit up for it. What's amazing and exciting for you is that there are as many different types of dramas as you can make up in your head. I'm opening the doors to my office so that the next generation of writers can exist. I really want you to come away with the knowledge of what it is to write for television, how to put together a television pilot, writing dialogue, character, how a writer's room works. I would have killed to know that. and you're gonna get to hear all the stuff that I never really ever tell anybody. You have to think about your first 10 pages being all about who is my character, how do I reveal my character as best as I possibly can. Take a pilot that you know well and break it down. And so I thought we would do that with the Scandal pilot. In order to break those rules, you have to understand what the rules are. I graduated from college and really felt lost. I mean, truly felt lost. I used to drive around the corner from the studio and cry all lunch hour. And I would come home at the end of a very long day and I would pull out my laptop and I would work on my script. That script is the script that got me an agent, that got me a job, that got things happening for me. People are dying for good writers right now. Remember that you belong in any room that you enter, and if you don't feel like you truly belong, act like you belong. What you should be doing right now is sitting down to start writing immediately. There are so many people out there who feel like television has these, secret keys to its kingdom. Let's take those keys and unlock the doors. Let's figure out what's back there. I'm gonna tell you what I know. I'm Shonda Rhimes, and this is my master plan.
Okay, the next one. Belgian fashion designer. She is known for her iconic wrap dresses. She has her own brand, available in 70 countries. Her brand is DVF. Who is she? Diane. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. You knew it. Yes. Thank you. Well done. Diane von Furstenberg. I'll place it. Or should we come? Thank you. Okay. A great career, another great career, designer career, building a fashion brand. Let's look.
Everything you do is at the service of the brand. What is this class about? It is a marketing class. Go on the selling floor, deal with the consumers, help them in the fitting rooms. You have to listen, you have to see how people live. It's all about the power of the image. Communication, visual merchandising, the packaging, the logo. The world is completely product polluted. Too much everything, in every color, at every price. So what would your brand bring? Why would it be different than anyone? I was 20-year-old in this factory. I said, will you please allow me to make some samples that I will try to sell in America? With a child in my belly and with 2 big suitcases full of little dresses, I sailed to America. That was the beginning of my business. Huge successes and huge failures. And the only reason why I was able to survive is because I did instinctively what is now being taught. You have to be close to who you are, what you want, how you want it, because all through your career, the closer you put the product to the consumer and the more authentic you are, the longer you will last. I am Diane von Furstenberg.
Okay. So, the next adventure, I want you to create your own masterclass in the next 2 minutes. Imagine someday in the next, maybe after 10 years, you became very successful in your career and you are invited to masterclass to teach your own classes. What could be some titles? What would you like to teach someday? Please think about some titles. Imagine. Write them down. Think of interesting titles. How would you teach it? How would you make it compelling, useful, interesting? Please create some ideas and write them down. let's wrap it up. Would you like to share your master classes with your friends next to you? Maybe let's learn from each other quickly. What was your idea? Just share with your friends around you. Let's wrap it up. Okay, let's continue the next exercise. So as a class, you see the squash there, yeah? We need to find at least 50 ideas, ways of increasing the value of this squash. You will work in teams, clusters. You can work in clusters of 2, 3, 4, 5, as you wish, okay? Come together with your friends. Your goal is to maximize the value of this squash. I bought this squash for, I think, £2 or something. It was £2 this morning, yeah? So your goal is to increase its value as much as you can, okay? How would you do that? You need to make profit. You need to make contribution. For example, think of at least 10 different ways to increase value. For example, a celebrity can sign it. Then its price increases exponentially. Maybe you can sell it for £100 because a celebrity signed it or more, yeah? So what else? You can use this formula or model, Scamper model. What is this? You can substitute, you can combine it something else with something else. You can adapt it, adjust it. You can modify, magnify, minify. For example, you can cut it into pieces, turn it into soup, cook it, etc. Turn it into a dessert, put it to another use. For example, you can turn it into some design for clothing, etc. Some crazy ideas. Eliminate it. Eliminate its inner side, for example, use the shell, etc. Rearrange it, reverse it. Okay, so please use all these and create as many ideas as you can. The more ideas, the better. Do it with your clusters, please. You can do it 2, 3, 4, 5 as you wish. Okay? Find your clusters. Write down your ideas. Discuss your ideas. The more ideas, the better. Okay? Okay. Try to wrap up, please. Wrap up in 1 minute. The more ideas, the better, of course. Okay, here are some ideas. You can turn it into a painting, an installation, an art installation, a squash cookbook, the complete squash book. These are real products. Because you can turn it into a brand. This is a brand. You can turn it into a business. This is a squash juice business. What else? You can paint, slice, transform it, sculpture, fundraising, artwork, the banana at Art Basel, song, poetry, rap, performance arts, theater, musical, cook it, sell it, invite people, form a community around it, make soup, trade it with other things, create a story around it, use social media and fashion item, give it meaning, etc. Okay, so you can also create a quote out of it. This is my quote. The last part, I should have eliminated the last part. Okay, now, I asked the same question to OpenAI Playground, okay? I'm curious what it will tell me. Your task is to create, to maximize, to maximize the value of squash as much as you can. Think of at least 50 ideas, let's say. I don't know if it can come up with 50 ideas, but let's try. You can use creativity, camper technique, brainstorming, entrepreneurship, etc. How can you create value and make money? How much money can you make with each idea? Explain each. I'm really curious what it will come up with. Let's have a look. Create a squash variety subscription service. Establish a squash themed restaurant. Wow, these are some amazing ideas, aren't they? And it goes on and on and on. You see the quality of ideas here? I'm simply amazed. It goes on, it will stop at 50, because I said 50, yeah? Can you provide, let's test it, 100 more? Your focus is on money maximization, let's say, through creativity. Let's see if it will come up with, okay, it goes on and on, you see? Fitness challenges, wellness retreats, podcast, online courses, apparel brand, wedding service. Okay. So, as you can see, I mean, as a human, Like, it is not possible that I can compete with this thing. Yeah? That's why you need it in your career. If you don't use this, your career, like, you lose your career, simply. You know? You have to use it every day as your assistant. Sometimes when I have challenges in my work, let's say I have so many emails some of those emails are emotionally challenging, let's say, taxing, or very complex, complicated. I use GPT-4 just to help me create a template or a response for these complicated emails. And it does a wonderful job. So you have to use it in your daily career. It will give you speed, effectiveness. You will be much smarter with this tool. It is your everyday assistant. It is your best creativity partner. As an entrepreneur, you can create so much value with this as well. You can create content, videos, ebooks, online courses. You can create everything with it. Okay, so use it. Use it every day. Do some experiments. The next one, he was a software engineer. He wanted to make his own science fiction movie. He spent only $7,000 and made one of the most original time travel movies of all time. The movie is called Primer. It won so many awards. Who is he? He's an engineer. He's not a filmmaker. But he's a genius. He spent only $7,000 and he got so many awards for his movie. He is Shane Carruth. The next one, he was depressed. He started a comic strip, Life in Hell. He started a cartoon series. That cartoon series is in 31st season now. That franchise is worth $750 million. Who is he? Simpsons, Matt Groening. Okay, so you can look at his success story and his career. These are in your videos. Please watch them. The next one, he worked in big businesses. He experienced downsizing. He decided that I will mock organizations, engineers, management through his cartoons. So he did that. He has satirical, sarcastic cartoons. They are all about white-collar workers, engineers, managers. And he created this $75 million empire. Who is he? Or what is this? It starts with D. The cartoon, I mean. Dilbert, Scott Adams. Okay, and you can watch his interview on how he became creative and successful as well. The next one, he's one of the best animators. He makes fascinating animations about nature, technology, tradition, arts, craftsmanship, and peace. He is passionate about flying. Who is he? He has his own company, animation company, which is widely successful, one of the best in the world, alongside Pixar. Who is he? He is Miyazaki. And he makes these incredible realist movies.
In which that story takes place, a process known as world building. Some stories require more detailed world building than others, but in the end the point is the same. Suspend our disbelief, draw us in, make us buy into the world you've created. I'd like to explore the films of Studio Ghibli through the lens of world building, and how they use world building to achieve a sense of immersive realism, a quality I've long admired in all of Ghibli's films. Through masterful animation and attention to detail, Studio Ghibli consistently crafts immersive, unique films that strike a difficult balance between fantasy and reality. World building is a daunting task for animators because Every visual element in a film must be created from scratch. There's nothing there until it's drawn. This is where Ghibli excels. Their animators demonstrate a mastery of technique and a strict attention to detail with every single scene to really bring the world that was in the writer's mind, the storyteller's mind, to life.
Okay, so here is your last exercise for today. I want you to imagine a story. This is an exercise in world building and imagination. We will do two exercises actually. The first one is this one. Imagine that you are a storyteller, author. You will create a town and some main characters living in this town. Follow the steps, please. Write down on your notebook or laptop. You are an author now. You will practice some creative writing, okay? We will do some brainstorming. This is a fictional town, okay? Number one, give a name to this fictional town. What's the name of this town? Where is this located? Which era? Is it a historical town, contemporary, or is it a fantasy land? Decide on the name of this town. Where is this? Describe this town. Is it real? Is it fantasy? Historical? Number two, try to draw a crude map of this town. How does this town look like? Create a map. Think about its geography. Are there any mountains, lakes, woods, river? Try to draw them. Try to draw a map. Are there some landmark buildings? How does this town look like? Just brainstorm. There is nothing wrong. Just use your imagination. Move your hands, okay? Don't judge your ideas. Don't be critical. You are just playing this, okay? Just go with the flow. Imagine that your hands have their own imagination. Your hands have their own imagination. Trust your hands. Just keep writing. Don't judge. Keep it flowing. It's like a game. You're playing this game. Number three, give a bit of history to this town, a bit of background. How do residents make money? What's the economics of this town? How do they make income? Who are the richest people, most powerful people or families here? And what do they do? Number 4, who are the most famous faces? Create some characters. Are there some outcasts? Is there community pressure here? Are there any arguments or contested issues? Power games? Who are the stakeholders and what are the conflicts? Invent some characters. Give them some names. Maybe you can think of some families. Are there some power games? Again, no judging, just make sure you have lots of ideas, just capture them, write them down. Keep it flowing. Number 5, what are shared dominant values in this town? Are there sacred things that cannot be questioned, and who is or who are questioning them? Think about the dominant value system or the tradition in this town, the establishment. Who is questioning this establishment? Or statu quo? Let's say there are some changes in the air. What are those changes? Who are bringing these changes? The last one is connected to that. Let's continue with the last one. Imagine 3 of your characters have just arrived at this town. They are newcomers, outsiders, but they are trying to establish their lives here. They pose threat to the established order. Changes in the air, what happens next? Kickstart your story. So imagine that there are some newcomers, 3 or 4 of them, maybe a new family. And they pose threat. And what happens next? And the last one is, let's think of number 6. Think of a couple of secrets that are buried here. Are there some family secrets? What is dark? What is hidden? Any past violence? Did somebody kill somebody else, etc.? Who wants revenge and why? Is there forbidden love? Think of some secrets in this town. What are those secrets? And how will you raise the stakes? How will you bring some drama to this equation? Where is the tension? Bring some tension, uncertainty, and make it exciting with a couple of mysteries perhaps, or conflicts, or power games. So you're essentially inventing your own Riverdale or story, whatever story it is. You can also turn this into like a fantasy story. You can also use GPT-4 or GPT-3 as your assistant in this. Like give it some prompts, have some ideas, use it as a creative partner, and it will also help you generate better ideas. Okay? So feel free to use it. But indicate how you used it, okay? Which prompts and which responses did it give, and then how do you improve on those responses? Think about that. Okay? So let's wrap this up in 30 seconds. If you want to capture some last ideas, please capture them. The last challenge, I want you to do this in clusters. And then we are done for the day, okay? So this is your last challenge. Please do this with your friends. Come together with your clusters of 2 or 3, as you wish. Okay? You'll be working on this a little bit. This is a science fiction story, okay? You are in a starship, leaving the Earth. It is the year 2120. 12 crew members. You continue these questions, okay? Number 1, describe the starship. What's the name of it? Technical properties. Imagine its advanced technology. What futuristic technologies are there? Number 2, why are they leaving the Earth? Why is this starship leaving the Earth? Think of the reason, the backstory. What are the events that triggered this starship to leave the Earth? Number 3, what is their mission? Where are they going? Are they going to the solar system, another planet, or outside the solar system to another star system? What is their mission? What are the obstacles, challenges ahead of our crew members? Number 4, think of these characters, crew members. Who are they? Where do they come from? What makes them tick? Do they have any pains, any ideals? Are they haunted by their past? What about their personalities? Are there some clashes among crew members, tensions? Any hidden agendas? Any special talents, superpowers, ego issues, etc.? Think about vulnerabilities, etc. Number 5, who are the biggest enemies here? Adversaries. Think of some adversaries. How do they pose a threat? Describe events that lead to some tension, conflict. Think of some events. Number 6, how do our heroes act, these crew members? How do they deal with these obstacles, challenges? How do they transcend these challenges? And number 7, are there any conflicts, trust issues among members? How do they resolve it? And finally, think of a few cliffhangers or tension, and then a finale which will satisfy your readers or viewers. So these are the prompts, okay? I want you to create some ideas, discuss, brainstorm together, yeah? And make it a bit of fun before we finish today. So you'll invent a science fiction story, create some ideas. Throw around some ideas, discuss, and make it fun. Again, like, don't worry, make it fun, interesting. Let's wrap it up in 1 minute. You can continue this on your own, of course, if you want. By the way, if you like science fiction, I recommend Aurora. It's an amazing science fiction, futuristic, on a starship. It's called Aurora. Okay, so let's. Okay, we are towards finishing now, the finale. He was a homeless man. He is a millionaire. He makes songs for entrepreneurs. These are his songs: Shopify rap, Bitcoin rap, etc. Who is he? Do you know this guy? He's called Chris Record. He was homeless, but he became rich doing these raps.
It's snooze on the clock. No. Keep dreaming, never stop. Yeah. Sleep in till tomorrow. Got an idea that can make $1 million. Yeah. Worry about what people think. No. Are you building a team? Yeah. Binge watching on Netflix? No. Podcast, School of Greatness? Yeah. Looking for a handout? No. Got your own biz plan now? Yeah. You afraid of the dark? No. One day you're gonna pitch it to the sharks? Yeah. Haters got you nervous? Within your limits? No. Choices. These set. Get my money in check. And I ain't gotta flex. I'ma stay with respect. No more negative thoughts. I'ma stay focused.
Okay, so the biggest franchises, have a look at them. We already covered them. The most valuable sports team, Dallas Cowboys. These are the most valuable. Dallas Cowboys is at the top. Most of them are American teams, as you see. And the last one, could a person or a group get this squash? The squash that we have here. Is there any volunteer as we finish? You'll have like 2 weeks time to experiment with it. You'll try to add value, experiment, share your story with us in after maybe in the next class or the week after. Like, is there a volunteer for this? I'd love a volunteer. It can be a person or a group. So I want to give this squash to somebody. You can do whatever you want with it. Okay? It is there. Any volunteers? I want one volunteer. And you can document it maybe. For example, you can draw with a face and make a diary out of it. Maybe if this is a character, let's say this squash is a character with its face and having its own adventures around the city of Norwich, let's say. What would be some of those adventures in those, like you can create some social media posts, stories around it, etc. So is there a volunteer? Or you can do anything you want, basically. Like, I want one volunteer, or 2, or 3, like a group, yeah? Anyone? Just a volunteer? I don't want to take this home. Like, I better give it to one of you guys. Come on, no volunteers? Cool, thank you so much. So, yeah, could you please give it forward? Thank you so much, thank you. Thank you for volunteering. And we'll listen to what you do with it. Excellent, well done. I wrote articles.
Nice to meet you. Hello. Really nice to meet you. So nice to meet you. Thanks.